Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, divorce support for dads, where we help dads create a healthy and less traumatic divorce. My name is Jude Sandoval, and I'm your host. I created this podcast and the Divorced Advocate community as a result of my own high conflict divorce, and because you as a dad deserve all the resources necessary to thrive through this challenging time. I encourage you to check out our website at thedivorcedadvocate.com, where there are resources that correspond to this episode, as well as free access to our membership community, where you will find live meetings, free workshops and courses, private discussion groups, and more. And now, on to this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am so grateful that you are here listening today. And before we get rolling on 7 ways to overcome your victim mindset, I wanted to welcome some more folks to the Divorced Dadvocate community. Our new folks this week are Paul, Elmer, Joe, Bob. That's not the same person, Joe and Bob. Tyler, Kate, Will, David, Nathan, and Janelle. Thanks for becoming a part of the Divorced Dadvocate community. If you are listening, I appreciate it. Please, again, share all of this information, this podcast or the videos or the website, any way that you're involved in the community far and wide. We are continuing to grow and grow and grow. And the more that we grow, the more that we share, the more people we are going to help through this difficult and challenging time of divorce. So thanks again to all of you who have joined the community. Thanks to you who are listening maybe for the first time today. And I just encourage you to jump in and get involved in the community. We are here to give you the support that you deserve and that you need during this challenging time. All right. Our topic today is 7 ways to overcome your victim mindset. And, if you are listening to any of the chatter that is out there in our society these days, this message might not be one that you hear too often. It seems like every day that you tune into the mainstream media or the drive-by media that you're hearing a new class of victim, that there's somebody that is victimized. There are only victims that are out there, and that you are a victim of whatever circumstance that you have going on. I'm assuming probably that if you're listening to this podcast, that if you have not already figured out that is a very detrimental mindset, that it may have crossed your mind already, that you need to work on figuring out how to get rid of this victim mindset. And so we're going to talk about 7 ways of doing that today. If this is the first time you are hearing that you are not a victim, even through your divorce, that you are not a victim, then I'm sorry, but the facts are that you are not a victim. I was not a victim during my divorce. You are not a victim. No matter what the egregious circumstances are, or the egregious behavior that our soon-to-be ex or our ex is exhibiting. It took 2 of us to participate in that unhealthy dynamic. And it took 2 of us to contribute to that. And it was 2 of us that were ultimately responsible for the ending of the relationship. So, there are obviously outliers in some circumstances of extreme abuse, etc., that may not be exactly, that are circumstances that are outside of what I'm speaking of right now. Let's just put it that way. So obviously that's the case. And if that is the case, then get out, get help, get to safety. There are plenty of places and opportunities where you can get some help in order to get out of something that is abusive. So just want to preface that. But let's talk now about ways to overcome your victim mindset. And the first one is recognizing that you have a victim mindset, or that you have this martyrdom syndrome in your mind, that you are somehow being victimized all the time. One of the first things that questions that I'll ask in when I'm meeting with a potential new client or a new client, is just to have them share a little bit about their circumstances, what's going on. And we also do that in our group stuff as well. And I can tell you immediately whether or not that person is in victim mode or not. And some of the things to look for in other people, but mostly in your own. We're talking about ourselves, right? Making ourselves better. That's the whole part of this podcast, is getting through this in a healthy and less traumatic way. If you start hearing the words that are focused externally, or you start having the thoughts that are, why is this happening to me? Or this always happens to me, kind of the Charlie Brown mentality, if you will, around, oh, good grief, this is just another poor circumstance or something that always happens to me, or the saying, why do good things always, or bad things always happen to good people? If you start to hear yourself thinking those thoughts or saying those thoughts out loud, or in describing what's going on in your circumstance or in your divorce, you hear yourself only talking about the external circumstances of what your soon-to-be ex or your ex was, it continues to do, whatever, and that you're just mostly focused on that, then that's probably a sign that you are in that victim mindset. And so, just like any 12-step program, in order to figure out how to remedy that, the first step is admitting that you have a problem. Okay, admit that you have a problem, and that you recognize this. And now we're going to talk about what you can do in order to go forward in mitigating some of that. So first, recognize that you have this victim mentality. The second one is to forgive others. Now, they have started to do some studies, and Mind Valley and Vishen Lakhiani is doing a lot of work around this. And I can't remember the group that he's working with, but they have literally found that the number one thing you can do for your mental emotional health is to forgive others. Now, okay, this doesn't mean that you are condoning poor behavior. So there's a difference between forgiving others for what they have done, because what this allows you to do is free up that energy within yourself that keeps you in that resentment. There's that quote that says, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. So when you have this resentment, it will continue to eat up your mental, emotional energy. So by forgiving somebody, you are freeing that up, and you're literally freeing yourself from the bondage that you have, that is that resentment that you have for this other person. Otherwise, that other person continues to control your life, your mental and emotional state, and in return, your life. So forgive others, work on forgiving others. Doesn't mean you're saying their behavior was good. It just means that you are forgiving them and letting that be free. Now, how can you do this? There's, I'll give you one tip, one thing that I have worked with. Firstly, you can go on YouTube and you can probably find a myriad of forgiveness mantras or meditations, guided meditations, stuff like that. One that I've found, that I know many people have found, that is very beneficial and has worked, is called Ho'oponopono. It is a Hawaiian saying that is simply, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And that's the four things that you will be saying around everything and anything. It's a forgiveness mantra, that if you start feeling these feelings coming up, you start feeling that resentment, you start catching yourself saying something or thinking something, you do your Ho'oponopono, which is, I'm sorry. Some people do it in different orders, but it's, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And you just say that over and over and over again. And so they've done studies where they've, like I mentioned, where they've hooked up brain waves after people have done this forgiveness exercises. and it completely changes their brain waves and their mindset once they do it. So that is number 2, forgive others. Now, number 3 goes hand in hand with the forgiving others, which is forgive yourselves. Forgive yourself. And sometimes, and actually, I might switch these from number 2 being forgive yourself and then forgive others. I feel like, and at least it's been my experience, working on the self-forgiveness was important to do first before I was actually able to really truly get out there and be able to forgive others. So maybe we should switch that 2 and 3 is forgive yourself first and work on your forgiving yourself first, and then work on forgiving others. Work on it, figure it out yourself, see what works. Maybe you can do it simultaneously, but in forgiving yourself, the goal is to just let go of those damaging labels. So, maybe growing up, somebody told you something. Maybe we've inherited these thoughts about ourselves and who we are. But the fact of the matter is our personality isn't permanent. It is malleable. It is whatever we decide to do, whatever we decide we want it to be and how we want to get there. So the old mindset was like, hey, that's just how they are. Or that's just how that person is. Well, that's great. Or that's just how I am. That's a really good cop out, right? That's just how I am. Okay, well, try to be different. If it's not okay, if it's not working for you, look, if you're not getting the result you want, then you probably want to change direction a little bit here. That's just that's a simple business mantra that we can apply to ourselves in our personal lives. If you're not getting the result you want, you need to look at what you're doing and try something new. So if you're not getting the results you want, then make that change. Our personalities are not permanent. So, what we do then by getting rid of these damaging labels or these negative self-talk is we're orienting our energy to the present and something that is positive. Again, just like forgiving others, we are releasing ourselves from something that is just holding us back and keeping us in bondage, if you will. And by freeing ourselves from that, we're opening up this energy in order to move forward and go in the direction that we want. We get out of survival mode, if you will, because holding resentment and being bitter and having this victim mindset is literally energetically keeping you repressed. And by letting all that go, it just opens up this whole energy to, it's keeping you in survival. So you're surviving. So that's what the point I was going to make. You're surviving because you're only reacting to these feelings all of the time. So if you're in this victim mindset and you're externally focused all the time, you are just reacting all of the time to these feelings coming up. When you get to the point where you forgive yourself and you forgive others, you're able to free yourself from reacting, and then you're able to take control, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Take control of those emotions and move towards thriving, towards something that you want, towards a freedom, towards an intention that you want. So you go from surviving into thriving because you're taking control of what that is. And so forgiving yourself, you can do the same. So the same Ho'oponopono will work for yourself. And working on yourself, when you have those negative self-thoughts come back, you can just do the I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, and thank you. And you can do that. I mean, what that does, and we've talked about, and we're going to talk about again here, that gratitude mindset. So if you shift yourself from the thoughts which are detrimental to you, I don't want to call them negative or positive, but detrimental thoughts like resentment or bitterness or being down on yourself or whatever it might be that is non-beneficial. If you take that and you do this exercise, it shifts, like the gratitude exercise, it shifts your mindset, because you can't be simultaneously in both of those emotions at the same time. So you can't be down on yourself with these detrimental thoughts if you're doing a ho'oponopono and you're forgiving yourself and releasing that away. So just like the gratitude, when I talk about the gratitude and doing the gratitude exercises, when you feel an emotion that might be a sadness or anger or whatever, and you do your gratitude list, you can't be in that one emotion and also be in the gratitude emotion at the same time. So if you're in a detrimental mindset, whether it's bitterness towards somebody else or being down on yourself, if you do the forgiveness exercise and you get yourself in the forgiveness mindset, you cannot be in the other one simultaneously. So as you do this over and over, as you do this exercise over and over again, you're going to start to see that shift away from those detrimental thoughts and mindsets, whether they're internal or thinking about somebody externally, and you're going to start moving into that forgiveness mindset. So that's 2 and 3. Forgive others. Number 3 is forgive yourself. However it works for you, whichever one you want to try first, try them simultaneously. And the ho'oponopono is a really fantastic exercise. Okay, the number 4 way to overcome your victim mindset is to meditate or pray. Okay, so this victim mindset is often an irrational instinct that is driven by fear. Now, like I said, a lot of this is driven by fear externally in our society, because if you turn on the TV or you read any news or you listen to podcasts, news podcasts or current events podcasts, a ton of it is driven by fear, and it's fear mongering. It's what gets clicks. It's what gets listens. It's what makes talk radio go round and round because of the adversarial mindset. And so this just perpetuates on itself. So this victim mindset is driven by fear. So how can we mitigate that? Well, number one, I would say turn off the TV, stop listening to all the stuff that you're listening, only source specifically where you want to get any of your information, whatever that might be. But the next thing is we need, by meditation or prayer, we're creating a space to get some clarity and some perspective on what's going on. And most of that clarity and perspective is within. And then what we're trying to do is align and refocus our energy. Like I was talking about with the forgiveness, we're realigning and we're refocusing our energy. So the meditation and the prayer are ways to get a deeper connection and a deeper sense of purpose in your life. Now, meditation or prayer, or I would say both, are really fantastic. And meditation has been around and has started years and years ago by spiritual followers and leaders. So that getting silent and getting still and being quiet and being able to get centered in yourself and be present was a religious teaching. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be religious in order to meditate, but being able to do that has been a tenet of religious teachings and philosophies across the world for centuries and centuries. So doing that or doing it in prayer or with prayer in conjunction with prayer does the same thing. It helps you to get realigned and focused, and then it's going to help you to get a deeper connection and really a deeper sense of purpose in your life. And I'll tell you what, during divorce, we've got so much going on in our lives. We've got so much change that's happening, and we literally cannot control hardly any of it. And we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So that's where the ton of fear comes into our into our minds and comes into play here. And so literally the only thing we can do is we can focus on the present. We can focus on the present by taking time to meditate. Now, a couple ways that you can do that is there are all kinds of fantastic apps out there to meditate. Meditation isn't clearing your mind. Meditation isn't sitting there for an hour chanting Om. Meditation is simply learning to be present for a period of time and focused on the present moment. A meditation can be walking in the park. A meditation can be just sitting and taking a moment to pause and tune into the feelings that you're having in your body. It can be taking a moment to just try to clear your mind and focus on, let's say, the Ho'oponopono mantra, and doing that for a minute, just to be focused on that and allowing any thoughts that come into your mind to just pass through while you're going through your Ho'oponopono mantras. It can be anything like that. Prayer, in addition to meditation, can help connect you to something that is bigger and greater than the situation that we're experiencing at the moment, because this is often overwhelming because there's so many components, there's so much change, there's so many emotions, there's so many things that we've never experienced, there's so much fear, there's just so much going on at the time. Being able to be in prayer and being able to connect to something and focus something that has a greater sense of purpose in your life is going to help you immensely. So that's number 4. Meditate or pray, or I would say meditate and pray are the two in conjunction that will help you immensely. All right, number 5.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jude with a quick reminder about the Divorced Advocate Foundation for Fathers, which is our nonprofit that helps dads through divorce with legal education, free or reduced cost coaching, and mental health resources. If you own a business or know someone who does, there's an easy way to help by connecting credit card processing through our partner program. Part of the fees go straight to the foundation with no added cost to the business, and 98% of businesses are actually able to save money on their processing fees. It's a win-win. So if you know a business that accepts credit cards, get them in touch with me by sending a warm introduction email to jude@thedivorcedadvocate.com or give me a call directly at 720-255-1021.
Manage your mood. When you feel good, you do good. So managing your mood. Now, this is, again, goes back to, we got a lot going on in our minds during divorce. So managing your mood is challenging. But like I was talking about with the meditation or the prayer, there are 3 proven methods of being able to do this. Now, the first one is practicing mindfulness. This goes kind of dovetails from the meditation and prayer, but mindfulness is simply being aware of the present moment and what is going on in and around you at the present moment, and being focused on what it is that are less focused on what is going on in or around you, but focused in on what it is that you're doing. So being mindful in what you're doing can be as simple as being focused in on something as simple as washing the dishes, experiencing washing the dishes, like focusing in on the temperature of the water, how the water flows off of the dish, how the dish gets scrubbed and cleaned, how what the experience is in the environment around you while you're washing the dishes, what they look like, the color, the smell of the soap. That's being mindful in the present moment of what's going on. So, that's can be challenging, especially when we're pulled in all directions all the time, and our minds are going in all directions all the time. To take the time to be mindful about what you're doing in the present moment. Start real small with this. maybe find one menial, trivial, simple task that you do and try to stay focused in it. That can be breathing. That can just be breathing and focusing and being mindful in your breath. You've heard me talk about the four-sided breath before. You've heard Joey Klein and IMS talk about the four-sided breath. We've talked about this before in ways to control your emotions and in doing some deep breathing exercises. You can go online. You can search deep breathing exercises, but mindfulness can start as simply as focusing in on your breath, breathing in deep, feeling how it feels when it goes in. Is it hot or cold in your nostrils? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does your body feel like? That it can be as simple as working on some breathing techniques. A second method for managing your mood can be the practicing of gratitude. So we talked about this a million times on the show here, in that you can't be in gratitude and also be in something else, another feeling. So practicing gratitude, one of the ones I always suggest is when you start getting into one of those detrimental mindsets or having those detrimental emotions come up that you need to shift yourself away from, is getting a piece of paper out or pulling your phone out with a notes list and just simply start to type or write everything that you are grateful for. Doesn't have to be big and grand. It can be as simple as, hey, I am grateful for this sparkling water that is delicious that I'm enjoying right now. I'm grateful for the fact that I have this great podcast set up that I can record stuff and share with all of you. I'm grateful for the information on the internet that helped me put together all this these suggestions and these tips for you. I'm grateful for my smartphone that helps me stay connected with all of my friends and family and everybody else that's out there. It can be real simple. It doesn't have to be big and grand, but as you start to do it, you're going to see I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for just the simple provisioning of the abundant food that I have, that the shelter that I have in my house that is warm and dry, the reliable vehicles I have. I mean, you can really start to see all the things that we can be grateful for once you start writing these lists. And it happens just like what happens is just like I mentioned with the forgiveness, is you start to adopt, you change, you literally rewire your brains. You rewire the neural pathways in your brain to have gratitude rather than whatever this detrimental mindset that you may have been experiencing. And in this case, we're talking about victim mentality. You're literally rewiring neural pathways in your mind to be grateful instead of in victim mentality. And what you'll start to see after a period of time, after utilizing these skills or utilizing these exercises, is you're going to start leaning towards and literally changing your personality towards gratitude, or changing your personality towards forgiveness, whatever it might be. So it just takes time. But hey, there's no better time than right now, because these emotions are coming up for a reason, and they're coming up to make sure that you are paying attention to them. So pay attention to them. Don't bury them. Use these tools that we're talking about in order to manage your mood. Now, the next one I'll talk about in managing your mood, another proven method is serving others. Now, we haven't gotten into this too much, but we did mention it last week, and I talked in my conversation with Gary, and what we were talking about with the parental alienation is one of the two biggest methods that I have utilized myself and I have seen in clients and other people, is that the gratitude and serving others. If you are down, if you're feeling down, if your mood is just detrimental to you, gratitude and serving others are two of the most amazing things you can do to shift that mindset. When you are focused on going out and helping others, it actually gives you more energy. And again, it shifts that mindset. When you're focused on helping somebody else, you are not focused on that victim mindset. So it is an absolutely positively amazing thing. Again, this doesn't have to be grand service, right? You don't have to go on a mission trip somewhere to a third world country. It could be as simple as making some sandwiches and taking them out to some homeless people. So that's something that you can do yourself. It could be as simple as walking around the neighborhood and picking up some trash. You are serving the neighborhood. You are serving the others in the neighborhood. If you want to get more involved, if you want to get involved with a community or a church community or somewhere else in and around you that can do that has something that is more structured, you can do that also. But the point being is serve others. Do something. I guarantee you it's going to not only make an impact on the world around you, it's going to make an impact on yourself. It is going to energetically change the way you feel. It's going to fill you up. I promise it will fill you up. And again, when you get filled up and when you do these things, you're changing your neural pathways, you're taking control, and you're managing your mood. So within that managing the mood, the 3 proven methods are practicing mindfulness, practicing gratitude, and serving others. Those are 3 things that you can do immediately right now, starting tomorrow. Start small. That's going to help shift that mindset and shift that mood. Okay, number 6 in ways to overcome your victim mindset is find a victor's mantra. Okay, what do I mean by that? Is so the key in developing these mindful muscles is to catch yourself when it's coming up, when you're doing it, and then at that moment change it. So we talked about mindfulness, we talked about gratitude lists, and I talked in the forgiveness of using the Ho'oponopono mantra. That's one. Another way is using this victor's mantra. So one of them that's a great one is the last line from Invictus by William Ernest Hensley, where he says, "I am the master of my destiny. I am the captain of my soul." You can just say that when you feel yourself getting into that victim, like, "Oh man, why is this happening?" Or "Poor me," or "Why is my life?" Or da da da. I am the master of my destiny. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my destiny. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my destiny. I am the captain of my soul. Say it to yourself over and over until you get yourself out of that victim mentality, whatever that detrimental emotion or feeling that you've had. Another one that I like to say is, what comes easy won't last long. What lasts long, or oops, that came out the wrong way. What comes easy won't last. What comes easy won't last long. What lasts long won't come easy. What lasts long won't come easy. What is easy won't last long. So I remind myself when I'm going through a difficult time or I have a difficult circumstance, I'll just stop and say, what lasts long won't come easy. What comes easy won't last long. And I just say it to myself over and over until I get out of that fear or worry or anxiety or whatever it is about the circumstance, knowing that if it's hard, it's going to be something that is going to be beneficial to me in the long run, and that is a good thing for me. So find a victor's mantra. There's all kinds of them out there on the internet, but find one that works for you. Put it on a Post-it note on your mirror, put it in your car, put it on a screensaver in your phone, whatever, wherever. Get a tattoo. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if you want to, if you're into tattoos, do it. But get that victor's mantra so that you have that in your lexicon all the time, because you're literally changing your personality. Okay. The 7th and final way to overcome your victim mind. To hear the rest of this episode and access the corresponding resources, visit thedivorcedadvocate.com and become a member of our community. It's free to join and will provide you with the resources you deserve as a divorced or divorcing dad. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I'll talk with you next week.